Hi and welcome to today's video where I finally got my Hourglass Swan and Fox palette. So this is the replacement palette and this is the one that was sent well over a week ago now. In fact, it took from ordering to actually get this one, it took 12 days. So basically, if you've seen the video where I mentioned this, it got damaged in transport and basically it's dented. There was a big concave valley in it. It does open and the colours, the shades are intact. So this, I ordered the Fox in the Swan palette, so it's the Fox colours, which is colour 3, colour choice 3. So this is the new one, and this is the one that was damaged. So I do have replacement shades, and it is possible but not easy to pop the shades out. They're on a ceramic disc. It is possible. That is if I ever finish that one up. So what I'm going to do is show you a look with this. I'm not going to say it's a first look, and I'll tell you why. Is that I did shoot this in daylight this morning, and unfortunately with my phone not having the best sensor in it for the camera, it kept flashing white, which was like a strobe effect, which is, you know, very disconcerting for you to sit and watch that. So I'm going to go through the routine. So I've actually got just moisturiser on my face, and because I'm not going to be wearing this makeup long, but this is, and I've got an Avant primer, so it's their main primer, which I got, I think, in an advent calendar. So well moisturised, but I'm going to put this on top. This is in my main project pan, and now we'll be doing an update fairly soon. Now the next item is the foundation. Now I've got a mixture for the foundation. So I have the Yensa BB CC Cream Foundation in 10 neutral, or is it 1? I think it's 10 neutral, but it's light neutral it is. I think it's number 10 or number 1. And then this is the company Enough Rich Gold, and this is in the shade 21. So I've mixed the two together to get a shade that is has a bit more depth in to the colour. So I'm just going to get a brush, and before I actually put that on, I will start off with the Bobbi Brown colour corrector and concealer set. So I'm going to use this shade, but this is all for light skin. It is the Fair to Light 1 set. So I don't know if there were any other. I think there might have been 2 sets, but certainly because it was for the South Asian market, or East Asian actually, the Far East, it really didn't have much range, because I know this was sold in Singapore and Australia. But it never reached, it was launched about a year ago, it never reached the UK. So it must have been a trial that didn't take off, because the palette was expensive. So I've put a light wash on, and that is basically to reduce the veining that you can see, and the dark purple, which is veining under the under eye. Because most dark circles are to do with the veins, and soft tissue, not to do with how tired or awake you are. It's a bit of a fallacy. It's really your genetic legacy. So I'm going to actually put on a foundation with this foundation brush. So this is the Heavenly Luxe brush, and that is my favourite foundation brush, and it's from It Cosmetics. And it's a dual-ended. There is a single-ended variant, which was the original one, and I don't think it's as good. This has a better head to it. So I think my mirror, the back of my mirror, which is white, had some problems that caused the flash earlier on today. So what I'm doing is, this had already fallen out, so it's got a rust back, so it shouldn't cause any flashback. And again, if you have a good camera, an expensive camera, I don't actually think this is a problem at all. But it is, yeah, I haven't got a particularly good camera. It's new, and on the phone, the phone's a new phone, but it isn't like the top iPhone or anything like that, or the top Samsung. In fact, it's not the top in its brand. I've got a Motorola, and it's a middle range phone. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this all over the eye. So I do put foundation everywhere. Now, a lot of people go short of the eye. Now, I have tried doing it with or without, and it doesn't affect, particularly the aging of my skin. It doesn't particularly affect anything. I know there is the lady, is it Martina Schnell, who does Makeup Geek, or had Makeup Geek? She was saying that she puts her makeup all over her eyes, and her foundation, and I agree. I think you don't always need concealer. I just need brightening at certain points, but not concealing. So I understand if you've got a very heavy foundation or a very drying, it may not be good to put down as a base, but this is highly moisturising, both formulas. And can you see how light it looks? Now that is because of the way the light is working on the ring light is bouncing off. But in real life, I'm going to turn this down a bit. See if it helps. It doesn't particularly, but it still is showing a lot lighter than I see it. And again, it's how the camera is processing the image. I don't know if you can see in there, I've mixed up a pot in there. It does look quite grey toned. So, there. So that's looking fine. So I'm now going to move on to, I think I'm going to dust next. I could do contour, I will add contour, but what I'd rather do is set my foundation so you can see the process. Anyway, I hope I'm finding you well. I'm well, and it is in fact my birthday week this week. So that's why I thought I'd treat myself to these palettes, which is obviously the Hourglass, because they are expensive. And I was drawn to the fox colour because I thought that was a better colour for me, more interesting because it was more warmer toned. Now I can wear cool tone because I am cool tone, but I've got a lot of pink on my cheeks, and I'm fed up of a lifetime of looking at it, so I'd rather have. And a lot of people who've got very pink often go to more peachy or orange. I notice quite a lot of fair people do. The exception to that is Teresa is Dead. I know she has very fair skin, very pinky, in fact pinker than me, and she likes pinks on her face and on her cheeks, but she has every other colour as well. She'll use any colour. She's very adventurous, and I do admire her, but I prefer what I prefer really. So a warmer tone is better. But I decided to go for the swans because I love swans. So I did mention I love swans. I see swans every day. I go up to a lake and there is quite a large flock of swans. They are a lovely bird. They're one of my favourites. They're not my favourite species. My favourite are coots, which are little black water birds. They're one of the smallest water birds. They're a rail bird, and their next cousin, which is also a rail bird, is the moorhen, which is slightly smaller. But both of those birds are very, very nervous. So they're very difficult to feed because they get swamped by gulls and other water birds and water birds as well. So I do feed them. They're very difficult to feed, but I do love my coots. But I also love the ducks, the geese, the swans as well. So we had quite a large flock of swans. They vary, over the course of years between about 24 and around 42, 44 at maximum. Right, so what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go into this. In fact, I'll swatch these. So basically, I've been feeding all the birds for quite a long time. And unfortunately, as you may know, there has been avian flu in the UK. So they're the first three. So that's the highlighter. That is a blush, a marble blush. That is an all over finishing powder. And then on my hand, I'm going to put a blush, and the bronzer. So that's the darker blush, it's orange. That is quite a berry toned blush, and with a bit of purple in, and that is the bronzer. So there isn't a lot of difference between that and that. It's just that's a stronger swatch, but they are quite alike. So I'm going to start off with the finishing powder, and I build that up. So I'm going to use my brush blush, I think, if I can find it. had it here. My bronzer brush. Where is my bronzer brush? Do you know, when you want it, why is it? Ah, there it is straight in front of me. So I'm going to use that. It's quite clean. So basically, I thought, well, I'll treat myself to the Swan palette, because although I love swans, and this is a lovely representation, to me, it is done in a tattoo style, which isn't my favourite style. And each like a watercolour tattoo, I think. But it's still interesting, and it still is representative of a swan, and you can recognise it as such. So yeah, I like feeding them. They do if they're hungry, they'll come. If they're not hungry, they won't. To keep away, which is great. And they've each got their own personalities. The sad thing is we have been hit by avian flu. And unfortunately, out of our flock, we've lost 21 swans. And there's another 3 that's very poorly at the moment. So either they'll pull through or they won't. There's no cure for avian flu. It is a flu. So the virus mutates so rapidly, there is no cure. So this is a migratory pond, which means they don't nest on the pond. Some birds do, but not swans or geese. So lots of swans come and go. We have our main core, but there's quite a few swans, particularly geese, that come and go. So they will have brought the disease in with them. So, like I said, we've lost a lot of swans. We've lost nearly the same amount as a standard flock would have been at one point. And we had a beautiful, beautiful male black swan. There wasn't a British native, it was an Australian swan. And they're worth looking up if you see. Now, we have mute swans, which have a nodule above the beak. And the larger the nodule, you can tell the sex, the male, whether the male or female. And this beautiful black swan was about 2/3 the size of a mute. It was a male, and it was quite feisty, but it was holding its own, doing well. I've had it there quite a while, and unfortunately it succumbed in recent days to avian flu, so we have lost that bird. And we've also lost a lot of our regular birds, particular characters. It's very, 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 very upsetting and very, very sad. We've lost, I think, around 11 or 12 geese and a few ducks, but it's mainly swans that are getting hammered. But it is swans and geese. Hens are particularly, known to have it, but the smaller water birds seem to be quite unaffected by it. They don't seem to be particularly affected. So yeah, it's all very concerning and very distressing, really. So at least I've got, I can look at this every day and think of my swans, and I do see them, like I say, every day. I don't touch them. I never touch birds. They are wild birds. I don't hand feed them. Sometimes I will try and take bread out of their hand. I do feed wholemeal bread. I feed mixed seeds, worms, dried meal worms, and there is a swan feed for all wild water birds. So it has fats and proteins in. So it's a mixed bread, which is really high quality for the birds. So I've taken that underneath as my contour. Now normally I would contour, in fact I don't think I'll bother this time. So like I say, I do feed them quality food, but some have been raised on bread. So if you don't lure them with bread or bring them, to come to feed, you have to give them what you know they will eat. And then that's a fact. So yeah, but they do get, I do bring all the different types of food with me, and it also enables me to go for a lovely walk. So I walk a lot each day with my little dog. My partner keeps the dog away from the birds because most of the birds don't mind too much because they're used to the dog, but swans, no, they're not keen, they'll hiss. But that's fine, we keep them away. So, but I've always liked wildlife. I've always liked birds in the garden. My parents were bird watchers. They knew a lot about different species. So there we go. So although it does look very, very fair, it isn't really in real life. I'm going to be absolutely honest. But I've actually got quite a lot of colour. I don't know whether turning this down will help at all. It's just, can you see there's a lot more colour now? Yeah, so can you see it is truer now? So I'm going to add a bit more light, and obviously it's because my skin is still fair, it's bouncing off. And I don't have the best lighting or camera, so please excuse me. So I've done the face. Other than, I'm going to actually put some blusher on. Now for that, I get my blusher brush. I have cleaned my brushes this week, and I'm going to, for blush, I'm going to use the marbled one. So I'm going to put that. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a peachy colour, and these are so soft. They're very good if you've got blemish face or aged skin like I have. Very, very beautiful. Can you see? Utterly stunning. So although it is supposed to be for the darkest of skin, I don't think it is. You just need a gentle hand, and either, I mean, this is quite a dense blush, but if you were a bit frightened, you could get a brush that was looser, you know, that doesn't have as much density, that won't pack, that will spread. So, you know, something like that, although it's big, that one is quite loose. So if you've got a heavy hand, that's one way of doing it, particularly if it's quite pigmented. So this is what we've got. Now what I'm going to do, I've decided, and I did like the look earlier on, I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to take this, which is the finishing powder, which obviously is for darker skin, and I'm going to run that into the contour of the eye. Now I normally set my eye down with a powder. If I will use it later, but at the moment the Kiko, this is a matte which I generally use, and it stops well, it helps the powders not to skip too much, because obviously I've got aged skin, or it also stops powders from gathering in, you know, and becoming patchy, which I can't blame the powders for doing that. It's more my skin really. So it is lovely. These can be used in multiple ways, and I've never had a problem on the eyes with them. So if you're going away on holiday, this could be used. The only thing is I wouldn't want to travel with this in case it got broken, although I do have another that's been battered, but many people won't. So, and I wouldn't ordinarily. So I'm now going to put into the crease area, to darken it up, the bronzer here. So I'm just going to put that on the outer bit. But again, it's not really dark for a bronzer on anyone above a mid skin tone. If you've got tan, it's not going to show. So that is quite beautiful. Now what I'm going to do, and I did do earlier on, and I did like it, but I needed a better brush. I've got this brush, which is a loose, it's not a dense brush, it's a very loose brush, and I'm going to go into the cool toned but very strongly pigmented blusher. And what I'll do first, to make sure it doesn't skip, I'm going to lay this onto my mobile lid. So I need to get the brush that I would use to lay it down. Wouldn't you know, you try and find the brush and you can't find it. It's not to be seen. No, it's not to be seen. So I'm going to use this first, because the lid is a bit tacky, and I think if I'm going to put a purplish, I don't want it to stick. Right, so there, on that, that's fine. So I'm going to use the same brush and go into the purplish shade. There's a little bit on there, and I'm going to start putting it in. Now that's lovely. Just giving a wash of colour. So if you wanted to have something that was like burgundy or pinkish and not be too strong, I would recommend this palette. Would work lovely. So I'm gently moving it across into the eye, keeping it more to the outer third. Now I had no irritation on the eye. I have very sensitive eyes. That doesn't mean you won't, because we all have kept sensitivities to different things. So as it's my birthday week, I'm not sure what I'm doing on my birthday, but at some point, well, I know I'm going into Manchester this weekend to meet with friends, because I've got a friend who's got a birthday just one day either aside from my birthday, and we will be going out for that over the weekend. And I would also like to try, well, I had a taste of, I've spoken about it, this cafe in Manchester called the New Cafe, and it's NU Cafe, and I think the owners are from Dubai, and they have the French style chocolates, which were I originally saw them last year in LA. I wasn't there, but I saw them online, and yeah, so what I've decided to do is to pop in, and I'm going to try. I tried a bit of the monkey nut, which is a peanut, like a monkey nut shaped peanut one, and I might try the Nutella, one or the other. And they're only about that big, but they have the chocolate, but it must be injected. It's like an Easter egg, but it's the shape of the fruit or the nut, and they inject it with a ice cream sort of mix, and it's heavy-ish, but it overall feels light, and it's injected with fruit pulp or nut pulp, whatever, and I find it absolutely exquisite. So I'm going to try one of them as a treat. I also want to take my little dog to see Blackpool Illuminations. He loves that. So and they used to end the first week in November, but they actually go on now till January. So I could never go for my birthday, but I think we will, if we can get a day that isn't raining, isn't blowing a gale. Not that it is blowing a gale, but it can do with the sea. But I don't have to do a lot. I like just to potter around and go for a walk. So what I do, I've used this Lord & Berry eyeliner, and I just do it either 2/3 up to 3/4 of the way across the lip lash line, because I don't like it closing in my eyes. I haven't got the biggest eyes. They're not tiny small, but nor are they big. So what I tend to do is open them up by not putting a lot of liner on. And this liner is my skin tone. It's the Infallible range from L'Oreal, and I do it on the lower lash line. Now I never really did dark eyeliner on the lower lash line. A little bit now and again, but even when I was young, it wasn't something I particularly enjoyed doing because it closed my eyes off. So I'm going to now go in and I'm going to do my brows. And if you can see, if I get close up, there isn't a lot of, you can see some of the brows, there isn't a lot of brow hair, and that's because I went grey very young. My brow hair was certainly going grey in my 20s, and my scalp hair started going grey at was 8. So yeah, it's in the family, and yeah, just one of them things. So all I do with this, I'm not doing individual hairs. All I'm doing is shadowing in, filling in, because I've never looked as if I had much of a brow, and that never bothered me. I would sometimes put something in, but really it was when Benefit took off with their brow products that I started to do this. So I don't spend a lot of time. I know it's lovely when people do, they have lovely artistry, but for me, I just tend to fill in. So they look, I just think the sisters, they're not twins. And my eye socket shape, they're very, very different between the two eyes. This eye's more hooded than that eye. So the next step I'm going to do is, if I can find this spoolie, I've got a spoolie and I've got some Anastasia Beverly Hills wax. There it is. So this is a mini, and I'd say I'm about the third of the way through. So I get the clean end that I dip in. It's got no pigment on the clean end, and I put it a little bit onto the back of the hand, and I pick up some on the spoolie, and then I go through one way and then I go back. So the reason I back comb it through is to get into the root, and then the next thing I do is I pull the hairs upwards. I don't particularly laminate, but I do pull it up. Now this has been the best product for my brows to stick them, because most of them don't seem to do anything for me. The Benefit one brow setter does nothing. Now that is lovely, so I'm very pleased. I have very short brows, but I'm quite happy with that. And I shall get in. I'm sure you can see it's toughened up a little bit. So it doesn't flap, but it doesn't stick out too much for me. I'm just happy in the middle. So that is the completed eye look now. And the face look, I think I'm just very, very pleased. So the only other thing I want to do is I'm going to put on some mascara primer. So this is the False Lash Effect from Max Factor. So I'm not going to do an awful lot because it does take a long time to build up, and I don't want to keep you there forever. Yeah, so I'll probably go to the cinema as well, because I think I'm going to see, is it Now You See Me, the one about magicians. My partner's a magician. He's a chemist, was a chemist, but he's also been a magician for many years. So we do go and, I like magic, so I do support him. And we will go and see that film. I think it's called Now You See Me, with Morgan Freeman in. And is it Jesse Eisenberg? And I think Woody Harrelson's in it. I can't remember the second one, to be frank. But the first one I did enjoy. So I know he'll like it a lot more than me. But I've been enjoying things like the Three Body Problem. I've enjoyed Slow Horses, which is a spy thriller. I've loved that. And there was another, The Assassin, that I've been watching. And then I love Alice in Borderland, which is a Japanese series, a bit like Squid Games. So I do watch quite a lot of, I like a lot of world cinema. I don't watch much TV at all. It might be on in the background. Mr. Bear might have it on, but I'm not. I watch YouTube. I don't watch a lot of TV, or I read. So there we have. I'm sorry I've kept you there, but it does take a bit to build up. And bearing in mind that's only the upper lash I use it on. So what I'm going to do is then go on to mascara. Now I should have set my face with a setting spray, but I didn't. I will do that last. So I've got this mascara, which is the Fan Fest, so it is for fanning out the lashes. Now I think roller lash is quite similar, except roller lash adds a bit of a curl, so I'm not really sure. The only thing is probably this adds a bit more body, because the roller lash, to me, if you've got thick lashes, I think, yeah, it'll probably do something, but for thin lashes there's no volume build at all. I don't think it does anything, so I'm not going to use roller lash again at all. So the brush on this is far too big for my eyes. It's a 50% too big. So I don't know why Benefit are obsessed with big brushes. Big is not better when it comes to brushes. In fact, most makeup artists wouldn't use brushes as big as that. They'd use their own spoolie that they can control. So as you can see, I've got some makeup on there. And normally I'd use, but I didn't think to bring micellar water here. So what I'm going to do, I've done a bit of clean up, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to cover it up there. So you can always go in later. It's not ideal, but there it is. It's not too bad. And the very final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some lipstick. Oh, I was meant to say that you probably noticed I've got a plaque that was custom made with Little She Bear. It's a metal plaque with a bear and a tree. I thought that was absolutely lovely. And then I've got a bear which was in the last few videos. It is a balsa wood bear which I've painted black. And then I've got a lamp that I've had a long time from John Lewis, and it is a mid-20th century style, which I love, mid-20th century style furniture and deco. I really love that. And that is absolutely gorgeous. It's no longer available. And yeah, so I just thought I would change the background a little bit. So little by little it's been, you know, growing. So I'm going for liner. I'm going to use the colour Sensational from Maybelline. Now unfortunately I don't know which colour it is because I cannot see the writing. It is microscopic, but it is their retractable range. So they have two ranges, a wooden one. Oh no, I'm not using this one, the wrong one. I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use the Lifter liner, and it is in the shade 07 Big Lift. It's very soft, so it does tend to blunt. So try not to go into the corners because I have a down-turned mouth. So yeah, try and avoid that. So I've got here, I hope this is still available. It is by Rimmel and it's called Coffee Shimmer 264. So it is a satiny frosted, I don't normally go for frosted, it's very 80s, lipstick. And I like applying lipstick straight from the bullet. I don't like using a brush at all. And in the 80s, you used to get little pans. They used to use a little brush. I know now and again YSL bring them out. And I think perhaps Chanel do, but no, that would put me right off. In the centre of the lip, I'm using this a beige lipstick. And obviously, it is discoloured, but this is in my project pan and the end is in sight. So this is the finished look. I'm going to turn the lights down a little bit, or maybe off even. There. So I'm sorry it's darkening a bit, but it just shows you the natural colour. My face has a bit more colour, then it's not as washed out. But like I say, I'm going to... that is the overall look. Can I say thank you very much for watching, as I do appreciate that your time is valuable. So thank you so much for spending some of it with me. Please let me know your thoughts down below on any of the products or any of the techniques, anything you'd like to share. But if you would like, I would really love it if you like this video, if you give the thumbs up, sign on it, and if you want to comment down below, that'd be lovely. I'd also be very grateful if you do like the channel and want to stick around, if you would subscribe. But I'd like to thank you, everybody, whether you've been long-term subscribers, and I know who a number of you are, and also new people that have joined. I really do welcome you all, one and all. And as we've got a bear themed thing going, as the title is Little She Bear, and that is because that is my name. My name is Ursula, which means Little She Bear in Latin. So that's why I have gone for that. And yes, I'm a bit like a mama bear, and you can all be my cubs, because I love bears as much as I love swans. I really do love bears. Can I say, like I say, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I shall see you very soon. My next video is going to be, let me just think, or an update on my project pan, and some of which I have used today. So that should be in the middle part of the month. I have yet to film, but it is coming up. But anyway, thank you very much. Please do take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of the week and next week as well. Otherwise, I'll see you very soon, and bye for now.